Dan to Dan, episode 6. A dangerous woman arrives. Wait, did someone summon my ex? All right, all jokes aside, Brent here, back with variants, cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, Dan to Dan, episode 6. A dangerous woman arrives. And for the longest time in this series, I am still mesmerized by just how weird and bizarre this series is. From top to bottom, this anime is probably the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. We have a show where a demon was trapped inside of a lucky cat, a golden testicle, an alien nerd, and then a popular girl are all hanging out, and somehow it's all making sense. The joys of good storytelling, folks, is just amazing. I gotta say, the story continues to get more and more interesting. We picked up this episode where basically we left off, where they're looking for Ken's manhood. For all intents and purposes, he has the banana. He is missing his grapes. And for all intents and purposes, he's just basically trying to do everything he can so he can get that little golden ball and he can be back, up fully operational. And so he's not necessarily, down to key players on his team, so to speak. And while they're out here looking for these, Turbo Granny, now trapped in the cat, is basically out walking around and kind of giving them a little bit of the synopsis of what's going on and just kind of be like, yep. So just so we're aware, I kind of got rid of them. I don't know where they're at. But at the same time, spirits are definitely going to want this. There's an aura to them, there's a presence to them, there's a life force attached to it because it was attached to you that spirits will naturally be drawn to. So not only are they missing, his manhood, they are also missing basically now it's a hot item commodity that people want for weird reasons. Look, I've had a lot of people want me for weird reasons. This would easily take the cake. That there is a golden ball just out there in the grand sphere of time and space that is just a nut that people want to go out and get. And yet the show still makes sense somehow. So they continue to go for the search, ultimately give up, only to then have this mysterious item appear in the weirdest form and fashion imaginable. The girl at the school that Miss ISA dropped a bucket onto just last episode, Ira, is the person who happened to pick it up. And the way she picked it up is probably one of the most unironic ways you possibly could imagine. We pick up where Ira left off, where she was just out on a walk, minding her business, probably making her way back from school or a friend's house, whatever the case may be. She was just out walking around, and ultimately, as she's passing by the train, yes, the train that Granny was fighting ISA and Ken on, the ball happened to get yeeted off the train tracks and hit a roof and then bounced directly off her noggin. You heard me right. She was hit in the head by a golden nut in the head from a flying train that Turbo Granny mysteriously misplaced. It looks like she yeeted that thing off so she'd have an excuse to stick around, even if she was outthought to the manner and form in which degree she was. She has backup plans for her backup plans because her backup plan was to go ahead and transfer into Ken. That backfired because she gave Ken her powers, but she wasn't necessarily able to be good to go. Also, she happened to transfer this life force into this ball and yeet it out, which happens to hit Ira directly in the dome. Crazy to think that this is all just a coincidence and not part of some grand plan that Turbo Granny's got going on, because she seems to be about 5 or 6 paces ahead about everybody other than Granny Psycho, who's just too tired and too lazy to care because Granny Psycho's gonna Granny Psycho. I don't know what to tell you. She just kind of marches to her own drum. And as the school has gone on, we figured out that Ira has spread a nasty rumor about Messiah Say apparently being more of an open legged variety, if you catch my drift. Unfortunately, a guy hears this rumor, decides to speak to Ken about it because Ken has been seen with Miss ISA recently. Ken, of course, being someone who's non observant to the world around him and doesn't understand social cues, social protocol, anything like that, hasn't even picked up on the fact that Miss ISA is apparently very pretty for their world. He's just been like, cool, I got a friend, I'm good to go. I don't have to think about her in any form of light or fashion whatsoever that would involve romance or even, thinking of her as a pretty individual. Ultimately, that now is just triggered a whole new level of jealousy in him because he realizes that, hey, she is apparently quite attractive. So he's going to go ahead and, you know, kind of be protective of her, but in the wrong form and fashion. He unleashes Turbo Granny's powers, scares the absolute snot out of this kid, and then goes ahead and pretends like nothing happened, only to find out Granny snuck into the school grounds to do some investigation of journalism on her own because she hasn't seen a school in who knows how long. Ultimately, Messiah say then tries going to talk to Ken. Ken is non-responsive because he's a dork who is friends with a popular girl who's very pretty, apparently, and now is just in this social conundrum where he's like, I like you, but I don't know if I like you, but I know you're pretty, so I have to make something happen. It's a whole thing. Ultimately, I say here's that Ken stood up for her, and there's kind of a happy feeling all the way around. They decide to keep moving on, only to find out that Ira has been planning this whole elaborate scheme to cast out ISA because she believes she is a demon. Because having that golden ball, she saw the aura involving ISA, drop the bucket directly on her head, and saw her hand powers and thought it was a wing. Her eyesight needs to get checked, but the girl's already crazy. She's one of those self-righteous people that believes because you are blessed with looks, you're blessed with intelligence. Girl, you got one, and intelligence has been chasing you your whole life. You're just faster. So, unfortunately, she's not that bright. Ultimately, she goes to confront her, only to just have two of her friends jump Miss Isa, and they try and hold her down. Isa then yeets those two girls into the distance through some objects, which, for all intents and purposes, has anyone checked on them? Are they among the living, or are they no longer with us? Did we make new spirits? Like, it looks like you created a whole situation on your hands, especially now that teenagers are going to talk and be like, I felt like something grabbed me and just threw me off. And it's going to be the whole new talk of the school come tomorrow. But hey, worry about that when we come to that. Ultimately, a spirit shows up, one called an acrobatic Selkie, who is going out and seeking for Ira because she sees not only the energy, but apparently she had a traumatic past life event where someone called her mommy that she has now attached to Ira. I don't know if it's accurate or not because I haven't read the manga, but at this purpose and token of time, she believes that Ira is her daughter and wants her to call her mommy. Look, you ask, but if someone says no, move on with your day. Unfortunately, the acrobatic Selkie cannot and continues to just keep pushing further and further, ultimately leading to a fight where the acrobatic Selkie not only eats Okaroon fully powered up, but also eats Miss Ayase and Ira. So that's a fantastic start, only for Granny to be like, walk on out. Make this bold speech. It makes you think that she was in charge of what's going on, only for her to realize that Miss Ayase triggered a lighter within the stomach that was attached to the hair of the acrobatic Selkie, causing it to burst into flame and spit out our cast and crew to start round two anew. Didn't mean to rhyme, but hey, if you got the time, might as well commit the crime. All right. That's where we left off. I'm excited to see where things are going. This series has been fantastic thus far. Highly recommend it for you and your friends to go and enjoy. But again, this is anime for someone who's probably been experiencing anime for a little while, as it is definitely in the left field variety as opposed to more of your mainstream anime styles. I've been Brent for Geek Variants. Be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button if you made it to this portion of the video, because hey, you're 8.5 minutes in, listen to me rambling. Clearly, there's something you liked. And be sure to check out all of our other videos. We are so close to being monetized. It is ridiculous. Thanks to each and every one of your support. I appreciate it very much from the bottom of my heart. I've been Brent for Geek Variants. I'll see you in the next one.